Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Yo, what up, what up? It's your boy Rubino.
And this DJ in the building.
And you listening to the UpNUp Podcast.
Yeah.
Wait, what are we doing?
I don't know, just listen.
Yes. Welcome.
What it do?
Ladies and gentlemen, you're tuned into the UpNUp Podcast. I'm your host, Rubino.
And I'm DJ man.
Yeah.
We here.
Yes, sir. Episode 31.
31.
Yeah, man. We're moving right now, right?
Yeah.
We ain't stopping, huh?
Nope.
Nope.
Can't stop, won't stop.
Can't stop. Come on, man. That's my quote.
Come on, man.
Shout out to Diddy. Thank you for tuning in. If this is your first time tuning in, this is the UpNUp Podcast. This is the podcast where we're focused on cultivating culture. Strictly that. We do that by providing amazing conversations, amazing dialogues, stories of just dope ass individuals, groups, movements who are just going after it, man, right?
Yes, sir.
Like not like relentlessly, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're going after what they want. We want to inspire, we want to motivate everybody who's listening and viewing. For the consistent listeners, man, we can't thank you enough, right? Last episode was Listener Appreciation Week.
Yeah. Shout out Ish.
Shout out my guy Ish at the issue. And yeah, look forward to episode 40. Every 10 episodes, we do Listener Appreciation Week. So don't be scared.
Don't be scared
to
come on the show, man.
Yeah, but we definitely just want to shout you guys out for continuously supporting. It means a lot to us and the team. If you want to continue supporting the podcast, make sure to rate, subscribe, and review.
And like it too.
And like it too. You can follow all the episodes on YouTube, SoundCloud, and iTunes. Just type in the UpNUp Podcast, and that's where you can find it. Also, make sure, please follow us on all social media platforms at _the UpNUp to stay tapped in. If you want to get fresh and get one of these nice Cultivate Culture dad hats, you know where to find them. Online store coming soon.
Coming soon.
Right?
Yep.
Real soon.
Yeah.
Soon coming. All right, man. Getting that out the way. Yeah, man. You know how it goes, man. We bring great guests up here, right?
Yes, sir.
With amazing stories and good representation, proper, accurate representation, right? Today's guest, I would say, she's a young woman who's been taking matters into her own hands, and carving a lane of ownership and entrepreneurship, right? I would say she's an emerging boss and leader, right? Who's doing everything doing everything she can to stay on the up and up, right? And representing what that means. You know what I mean? Like people need to know what that means, man. Like when you hear the up and up, you need to know it's about being a boss, right?
Yeah.
And emerging and finding your lane. Just to give you a little insight, she is the founder and owner of her own cosmetics line called Eve's Lashes. With the mission to push and promote inclusivity. Did I say that right? And diversity, man, in the cosmetics industry, which is definitely lacking a lot of diversity and lacking a lot of a lot of color, right? If I could say that. And as a company, it's owned by a Black Muslim woman, which obviously is something that needs to be pushed as well in the industry. So without further ado, man, I just want to get straight to it. Let's get straight to it. Our guest is none other than the determined and young visionary herself, Hawa Arero. Can we get a round of applause? Yeah. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Feeling good?
Yeah, I'm feeling great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you coming to the show, and Erm spoke very highly of the work you've been doing and of the company you've built. So, but before we get to everything you're doing, I'm sure you're familiar with the show. You know how it goes. And if you're a listener, slow down, man.
You forgot last time.
I know.
All right, yep.
You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, I'm getting old, man. My memory be slipping sometimes, man.
Come on.
But for the consistent listeners, you know what time it is, man. Quote man.
Yeah, that's me.
Come on with it, man. We need the quotes.
All right. So the quote is short and sweet today.
Okay.
So it's once something is a passion, the motivation is there.
And who said that?
Michael Shoemaker.
I thought you were going to say yourself again. I was like...
Yeah. I don't know if I said his name. Yep.
Michael Shoemaker.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got to repeat
or
that.
Or Schumacher. It's probably Schumacher.
I think something like that.
Yeah. That name sounds familiar. So run that back one more time.
All right. So...
I got to feel that one.
Once something is a passion, the motivation is there.
That is short and simple.
Yeah,
but it's straight up.
But it says a lot though.
It does. It does. And so we bring in the quotes. Obviously, it sets the tone, but it also ties into your story as well. So before we get to everything you're doing with Eve's Lashes, and I know you got other things as well that you probably want to do. What we do on this show is we bring people up here who obviously are grinding, who are on the up and up, who are doing what they need to do to keep striving for success. But what we try to do is provide context to that success, right? Because everybody thinks it's an overnight thing. Everybody thinks it's like they see what happens on the gram and they don't know what happens, at home and, when you're on the road. So for those who don't know, tell us a little bit about, your upbringing. You grew up in Seattle, right?
South Seattle.
Hey.
Shout them out. Throw it up.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, so I guess for you, like growing up out here in South Seattle, I guess how did that kind of shape, your upbringing and kind of what you thought was possible for yourself growing up?
What I thought was possible. One thing for sure is just growing up in South Seattle kind of gives you like a grind to kind of want to do a little better, where you grew up from. And for me, it was kind of like I had this idea of trying to get out of it pretty much. Like I love where I'm from, but also like I want to get out where I was from because
you want to see more.
I want to explore the world, and from there it was kind of like I just knew I had to get it. I had to get in that aspect. So some way, some shape or form in which growing up it was like corporate America. I want to get into corporate.
That's all we know.
That's all we know. That's making it in our opinion.
That's
so
real.
That was how it all started. Like I want to get into it. So that was the beginning of that. I was telling him earlier, like I joined this program called Year Up, and it kind of changed my life. Where it opened doors for me, and it was like I was exploring the world, and I was working at some of the top tech companies all around Seattle, and I was getting it like that.
Yeah, and shout out to Year Up too.
Yeah, shout out to Year Up.
Very.
Yeah, they really do.
It's an effective program.
Yeah, it changes a lot of people's lives. Opportunities we never knew we had, and a lot of these companies they don't mind investing in us too. So I did that whole thing, and for me it was kind of like, it was great. The money was good, but I just knew that wasn't the end of it. I didn't see myself always working for somebody. So.
Did you have any I guess images or examples growing up that maybe you can look to and say, I see them doing their own thing. I might want to do that, but right now this corporate thing is what's really actually the only option for me. Like, did you have any examples? I mean, I know, for me, like my grandfather, on my mom's side, he was a businessman. You know what I'm saying? That's all my mom talked about, and I felt like subconsciously she was just ingraining that in my head. Like, your grandfather was a businessman. He owned this. He owned that. He did this. Did you have examples like that when you were growing up?
To be honest, yeah. I had my dad. He never really worked for nobody. He always worked for himself. And so seeing that was kind of a great example.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
He showed me that he got it in that way, just owning his own business. It was transportation business and little things like that. And I just knew, they're coming straight from back home and they're starting it from the ground up. It's kind of like, man, he got it. So it did definitely inspire me.
It had that effect on you.
Yeah, definitely.
No, that's real. That's real. And so I don't know how it is growing up. Did you know exactly what you wanted to do? Because I wanted to go to the NBA, but that shit wasn't happening. At a certain point, I realized, and then I wanted to be a rapper, and that shit wasn't gonna happen. So now I'm like, all right, let's figure this out. Did you have aspirations and things that you knew for sure you wanted to do when you were a kid or when you were growing up?
Growing up, it was kind of just like, at some point I did think like I was gonna do my own thing, but at the same time it was like I just knew to make it you gotta work for some. That was what we were taught growing up. Like, go to college, graduate, get a good job. That's it. That's all. That's really
those are the steps.
That's literally what they teach you.
That's the manual.
Yeah, especially growing up in an African household. That's literally what they teach you. So that's all I knew, but I knew that's not what I wanted completely, but I just didn't know yet, Growing up, I didn't know that. Nah.
That's real.
Yeah,
I feel you. So how was your, your journey through corporate America? Like, what were some of the jobs you had, some of the things you saw, you know what I mean?
One thing I did see in corporate America was like, they all been doing it for so many years. Like, everybody's been doing the same thing for 20 years. Everybody's just stuck. It was a cycle. And it was just like, a lot of these folks didn't even look really happy, you know? I'm talking to people, and it's just like, you've been doing this for 20 years, you know? And it's just like, I knew I didn't want to do that, you know? And it's kind of like, one day I remember thinking to myself, like, we're working so hard down here for someone up there, and we're really feeding his family. We're not even really, we're the bottom of the bottom, you know? So it was kind of like, I remember sitting there at Microsoft one day, like, shout out to Microsoft, you know? But I was working there, and I was just like, you know, homeboy up there is eating. I'm feeding his kids, you know, and I'm the one really working. I'm waking up in the morning and I'm grinding, and it's just like, I want to do that for my family. You
Yeah.
know? And it's like, like I said, the money is good, but it's like a cycle. You're only going to stay in that cycle. You're only going to want a higher salary. You're just going to stay in this.
Yeah, it is a cycle.
It's a cycle.
It's a cycle.
Yeah.
I think, what's his name? Ariv Adiman from Vozy. We had him on our show, and he talked about one of his mentors said you can have 2 of 3 things in the corporate world, right? He said you can climb the successful corporate ladder. You can have good health, right? And you can also spend time with your family. And he said you have to pick 2. You can't have all 3. And that kind of stuck. That kind of hit home with me because I see that, you know. And I think people know. Everybody knows who they're working for. Everybody knows who's the breadwinner. Everybody knows who owns the company. And everybody knows that they've been there for 20 years. If they've been there for 20 years, they feel it. But some people just don't want to take that risk and jump off the quote unquote cliff. You know what I'm saying? Was there like a defining moment for you aside from just talking to people and seeing the complacency? Was it more than that? Was there something that just told you, yo, like, fuck it. Like, I don't care. Like, I cannot do this for, that amount of time.
Honestly, it was a really good friend of mine that opened my mind like that. Like, this really good friend of mine, they don't really have the opportunity due to like their circumstances. They're in prison, and they're just asking me like, is this what you want to do forever? Is this something, you see yourself doing for 10 years, And I was just like, no. And it was like, find something you really like, find something you really love, and something you want to invest your time and your money in, a passion. And I was just like, I got to thinking to myself, like, I really got to figure this out. And, just find something that I can wake up in the morning and enjoy it, and it is just lashes, but there's so much more behind it that I enjoy doing, and just the pushing the brand, and just at the end of the day, every night I know that grind is for me. It's coming back to me.
Ownership.
Yeah, exactly. So that feeling was just like really, it was like, it feels good.
It's a powerful feeling.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that was a good friend of mine. Opened my mind to that.
Shout out to good friends, man.
Shout out to
good friends, man. Take notes, all you friends out there.
Yeah.
So, how did it get to like lashes? Like, did you think of like a whole bunch of other stuff to go into?
Yeah. Where did it start?
To be honest, it was like lashes was kind of like my whole thing. I remember thinking, because right now what's in, like, I don't know if you guys know, lashes are in, individual lashes are in, right?
We're learning.
Yeah.
I'm going to learn on this
Getting
show.
your individual lashes done is really in. And, like, for us Muslim women, we can't really get permanent extensions. Like, we can't really do the fake nail thing. We can't do the fake weaves because it eliminates us from praying. And for us, it's kind of hard because it's like we're trying to keep up with, our beauty routines,
That's real.
So for me, it was just like, okay, what can I do where we can kind of like still rock these popping lashes, but at the same time, at the end of the night or before we pray, we can take them off, So my goal was just like, I had to go through a lot of vendors. I was trying to find things that could literally imitate these individual lashes that we can't really rock. It's really, so from there, it was kind of like, I went through a lot of different vendors, just trying to find it where it's good. So
from the moment you said, okay, this is what I want to do, and then the moment you actually found like exactly how you're going to do it, like how long did that take, would you say, in between? So like going to find vendors, doing the research,
that's it.
Telling people, and people telling you what you're doing, what, and you're like, fuck, never mind. And how long would you say that took?
Took a few months. Like before I even went live, I'm literally testing things out. I'm trying things with my family and friends. I didn't just jump into it. I was doing my research.
There you go.
I was picking up on game on the other little companies. I'm trying to understand how to push it. What are they lacking? And just little things like that. So I definitely was doing research a lot way before I went live.
Yeah, and I bring that up because when we bring people on this show, as much as it's important for you to tell your story, it's even more important for your story to connect to some of our listeners and viewers. You know what I mean? So there's people out there who want to go after things and they want to build stuff. And I ask that question so that you can tell them like, yo, it's not overnight. Like you got to go through the process. You got to learn. You know what I'm saying? You got to unlearn too, right?
And I remember in the beginning, I remember my brother was telling me, he was like, man, there's no pride. Don't be afraid to talk to people. Don't be afraid to pick at people's brains, And he was just like, there's so many people with different type of businesses. Just tap in with them, see how hard it is, and I started doing that. I'm reaching out to him and his friends. I'm reaching out, to Solomon. I reached out to people I knew, and I'm just like, what's up? How is it? Tell me what I need to know. And people you'll be surprised how many people really support you, and they'll really put you on game. And,
that's real.
And not being afraid to just, there's no pride in this business, not being afraid to tap in. So
I like that.
I feel you. Because it's not just execution, like it's kind of like a whole mindset.
Exactly.
Like being an entrepreneur, trying to do your own thing.
Exactly.
You got to really you got to have that mindset to where you're just like, man, I'm about to just get it. I'm about to do it. I got to tap into this person. I got network, Network is one of the biggest things. And shout out Europe again. Europe taught us that shit, so.
Yeah,
networking.
It's everything, bro.
It is.
To me, honestly, it is. I see people all the time who have they have more talent than they even know they have, but they just don't go talk to people. I'm like, dude, go talk to this guy right here. He can help you. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. And there's stories all around us of people who just don't have as much talent, but just are willing to go make that connection and conversation, and they'll end up getting in a better position. So no, that's real. I think for the people who are listening and watching, they can learn a lot from that. Getting out there, talking to other people, even though they're not in the business you want to go into. Business is business, bro.
Period.
It's a mentality. It's just a mindset. Entrepreneurship is a mindset first before it's anything else. So you can learn a lot from other people, man. Now again, I know my lane, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm a man. You're a man, right? Yeah. So I let you talk what you know when it comes to this cosmetic stuff, right? But I guess for those who are listening, I would assume, the women who want to, support it, I guess what would they be getting when they buy into Eve's Lashes, and I guess how does it separate? I know you said it can help, for Muslim women who want to keep up with the rituals, but for other women out there, what are they getting? Because I know you got something that separates you from others, right?
Yeah. One thing's for sure is, for our locals, one thing that I decided to do was offer delivery, and that's one thing that's very convenient to a lot of women. Wow. It'll be like a random Saturday night. I'll get a call like, hey, I need lashes last minute. And I'm like, yeah, where you at? I just pull up. Wow. So that part of it was huge, where I just made sure convenience is the number one thing. And I also like to mention, they're really affordable compared to what's out in the market right now. And I purposely did that. And I remember a lot of people were like, man, you're taking losses. You're taking a lot. I'm not really taking a loss, because at the end of the day, I just know there's so many little young girls out there that want to also get the most luxury lashes and they can't afford it. They're going for $40, $50. And I'm just like, I'm selling it for $10,
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that's another thing that I really hold with pride is I don't mind it. I rather convenience over anything for me. So that's definitely it. And it's luxury lashes,
Yeah.
So
I mean that's how you build it up too, right?
Exactly.
From a branding standpoint, people do appreciate that too.
Exactly.
Understanding the market, right? Kind of like what Bobby was saying on his episode, where he started his company when he was 16 as a photographer and a videographer, and he's 16 years old. There's other people who are older than him who are more established, so he started tagging along. Next thing you know, people started noticing his work, reaching out to him for gigs. And what he started doing was understanding, okay, these guys, these big dogs are charging this much. I'm gonna just charge a lesser price and get more gigs and still build up,
Exactly.
So I think for people who are listening and watching, pay attention, do the market research, right, and understand that. Now, aside from obviously the products you provide, I feel like every company has a why behind it, right? And I think you kind of spoke to it in terms of inclusion and promoting diversity. But I guess for you, what does that look like for Eve's Lashes? How are you trying to promote that right now?
So right now, a lot of it is for example, my page, I made sure it's very diverse, and that was purposely done because I want different types of girls with different looks to be able to go on my page and be like, okay, this might look good on me, because then you go to these other, you kind of don't really know how it look on you, you don't really got an example to look at, and also one thing, I like to tap in with people who don't really the models that I use. Up and coming girls, girls who are on Instagram.
How do you find them?
Really, it's just girls that are coming up. You can kind of tell right now. Instagram, girls that are trying to do the modeling thing.
I don't know.
You can tell. I'm like, okay, they're trying to do the whole modeling thing. Let's do a collab. Let's come together and let's work together. And the same goes with my photographers that I use. All the photographers I use are locals who are trying to build their portfolio, you know. And
that's
so
real.
That's huge for me too. So it's like that part of it is something I like to do, you know, when I'm promoting.
That's dope though.
Yeah, I think that's important. You know, like just bringing the people up around you too. You know what I mean? Because like a lot of people would just be like, yeah, I'm gonna tap into this agency or get this photographer because he's the best, whatever. But then there's somebody just as hungry as you that you can bring up, you know. So that's dope.
Nah, I think the biggest thing is you kind of talked about, like, I like how you talked about, I like working with people who are on the UpNUp. Shameless plug, but who are up and coming, right? Because it is important though, right? It is important to notice, okay, this person has potential. They're not where they want to be. I know I have potential. I'm not where I want to be. So let me go ahead and just network across. What's her name? Issa Rae. She did an interview, and the guy was asking her, yo, how did you build what you have? And she said, yo, early on, I didn't have as many resources as, you know, other people that were doing it, you know, and doing it really well. And I knew I was talented, but I knew that I didn't have those resources. So what I ended up doing was just networking across. Instead of trying to network up, everybody wants to always network and outsource the person who's already doing it at a high rate. And it's like, dude, sometimes you got to grab your friends who you know can do something and just put them in position, right? Put your homies in position. So I like that you're giving other young women opportunities, right? Who you see an interest in modeling. You're like, you know what? Let's do it. Let's see what it turns into. And who knows, right? She might be on the runway. You know what I'm saying? America's Next Top Model. She gonna look to you and say, yo, shout out to Hawa for putting me on, right? So that's dope. I like that. I like that mentality.
Thank you.
That's dope. So from like I'm like he said, I'm a man. He's a man, so I'm gonna stay in my lane. But like, do you got to go to like beauty school? You know how some barbers got to go to beauty school to like, you know, be a barber or anything, like to sell lashes. Is it kind of like the same game, or you kind of just did your thing?
I'm always curious about that.
It's research. It was really research. Okay. Talking to people, looking at, you know, other companies, and really just reading their stories too, and kind of just, and also these vendors that you're talking to, they're not afraid to teach you a little thing or two, you know, and I'm asking them questions. You know, so it was a lot of months of research, and no, you don't need to go to no beauty school.
Okay,
I
mean, I figured. I was just throwing it out there.
It's really like like I said, it's really like how you're promoting it. It's really about how what are you offering, you know? It's lashes good, and also making the customers happy, you know, and really convenience. Everybody wants convenience now.
That's real. That's real.
So that's really what the business is.
Were there some times where you were like, man, like you felt like, fuck, I shouldn't be doing this?
I don't want to make this delivery right now.
No, you know, it's crazy. I don't mind it because it really is cool, because it's like, because, you know, like if someone really trusts me to come through when you need it, it's like you're gonna fuck with me. You know, you're really gonna tap in.
They're looking to you.
And they tell the next person like, hey, she really would come through, you know. I remember one day I'm outside one of the local spots, and I'm selling outside my trunk. I literally just posted, literally. And it was cool, and I was like, I enjoy it. Like I said from the beginning, like, it's that good feeling. You're not really working for nobody else but yourself. It's coming right back to me.
No, I think that's real though, because I feel like people, once you're in it, you lose sight of those things that other people may think are annoying or inconveniences, right? Like, who cares, right? I'm in the process. I'm in the moment. I'm on the journey as part of the game. You feel me? It's like a player getting mad that he gets fouled coming into the lane. Like, dude, what do you expect? You feel me? Right? You still gonna score the ball, right? Either way. If you can make a free throw, you know what I'm saying? So I also wanted to ask that, you know, you being in the position you are, you know, being a woman of color, being a Black Muslim woman who's in business for herself, you know, do you oftentimes feel like there may be involuntary responsibility to kind of carry yourself in a certain way, or, you know, make sure that you are successful so that, you know, young girls look to you and say, okay, it does work. Maybe I can do it. Do you feel a little pressure from that?
Yeah, you do actually get a little pressure just off what you just said, like just the youth. You know, I know, like, there's someone out there that's probably listening or, you know, watching how I'm moving. It's just like, man, if she could do it, I can do it. So it's like, I don't want to disappoint them, you know? Real. And it's like, especially this time of age, you know, this generation, they need a little looking up to, you know?
We need more.
Exactly. And so it is pressure, but also it's one of those good feelings. I don't feel, it's not like, it's good that's going to come out.
Or do people come up to you and say, yo, I need advice on this and that and this?
Yeah. Surprisingly, you know, I didn't even think, I'm still coming. Like, I'm still grinding.
So do you feel overwhelmed from some? Because you know, some people. What's his name? Nipsey Hussle had a line in the song. He's like, they follow me because they think I know the way. And it's like I feel him on that. Sometimes it's like you see someone doing something really well, and you're like, okay, he knows everything. He got all the answers. Do you feel like sometimes you get sought out for answers that you probably don't have?
Yeah, and also with that, it's kind of like, if I don't have the answers, I'll find the answers for you, you know. And I have a couple, it's funny you say, I do have a couple people who come up to me, a couple friends, old friends, like, hey, I want to do this. How do I start? And I'm like, okay, I got this for you, but I know somebody who can actually help you too. That they got to connect here, you know. So that's my way of really doing it. If I don't
I'm the king of that. I
swear
to God.
I get the answer, somebody's
bro, people hit me up for the most random shit that I know. I'm like, dude, why are you asking me out of all people? Someone will be like, hey, bro, you want a DJ? I'll be like, me? I'm like, no, but I know a bunch of DJs that I can plug you in with. Exactly. So definitely referrals are big. That's real.
So let's say one of those like girls or whatever come up to you, that look up to you and say, hey, Hawa, I'm trying to get into the lash business too. How do I start? Yeah. What would you tell them?
I tell them, you know, start looking through vendors, research. Actually, a lot of people have, and you would think people assume you're gonna hate. No, there's enough money for everybody.
That's
I don't mind.
Say it again for the people in the back.
There's enough
everybody
money for
eats.
Everybody eats.
Everybody eats.
Everybody eats. You know, so I've had multiple people actually ask me about how to do the lash thing, and I was just like, you know, start out doing your research. Start getting samples, start tapping in with these people over here, you know. So I don't mind it at all. I really am a firm believer everybody eats. So I definitely support everybody that's trying to get it in any shape or form, you know. So definitely.
So I have a question too.
Yeah.
And this is a question I always ask I guess everybody that comes on this show, or in my head I don't always ask it, but I'm always curious about it. And that's like, how do you, obviously with what you're doing with Eve's Lashes, and I'm sure you probably have other ideas and things you want to do as far as expanding down the line, like how do you stay dedicated to the grind but still remain available to people? Because that's something, you know, I know myself I struggle with too, is trying to find a way to stay available for people, but also like, yo, I can't. I gotta grind. I gotta go after it. So how do you deal with that?
That's real. I'm dealing with it right now. That's real.
I just need to know. I'm taking some tips.
I'm dealing with it right now. Trying to find that balance. It is hard, you know. And the way I look at it, people who really love you and respect your grind, they're gonna respect it and they're gonna appreciate it. You know.
Real.
And then they're gonna give you your time. And for me, it is hard right now because, you know, trying to work the 9 to 5, trying to push this and still trying to be, you know, talk to your homies and family, all that. It's really hard. But like I said, people will respect it, but at the same time, you got to find a balance. You can't really overwork yourself. You got to, like, I try to really, like, not only do I, like, focus on random models, but I also include my family in half my shoots, you know? My family and friends are involved.
So it's like two birds with one stone. I get the bond with the fam.
It's kind of really cool, but also it's a balance I'm trying to still figure out. There's
no right or wrong answer to that shit. I swear to God. I just always want to know how people deal with that. Like, you know what I'm saying? What do you do, bro?
It's hard.
Because you probably hold on. Are you keeping secrets from me? I want to know, man, if it's working for you. You look hella calm and shit. He's like, I know what I do. I'm good.
I'm just thinking about everything. I'm like, bro. I remember that time. I remember that. You know. So damn, that's crazy. There's a.
It's tough.
It's hard when you think about it.
It's tough. But yeah, man, I'm glad that you're able to kind of share your story. There's probably people that know you. You know, known you for a while, who probably don't even know your story, right? And what I also want you to share is, did you ever have any moments of, like, he kind of touched on it where he said, did you ever have a moment where you were kind of like, am I doing the right thing? Is there like a specific incident or instance that happened where you were like, yo, it was a discomforting moment where you're like, man, this is bad, or, you know, or I didn't expect this to happen on this journey. Was there anything like that stuck out that you can think of?
Not yet. But I know, like, in the first few months, you know, to be honest, I didn't really have a high expectation, to be real. One thing I remember telling, you know, my family and my friends, like, I don't really care about the sales. I just want people to know the brand, know the story. I don't really, it's not really big to me.
Talk about it.
That's really all I really care. Like, how many people can hear Eve's Lashes and ring bells? You know, that's what I care about most. Branding. Because there's so much more I want to do outside of just lashes that I know down the line. It's like, people support this, they don't support everything else that I got coming.
And you can honestly, like, unintentionally limit yourself to that only.
Exactly.
You know, because branding's everything. That's how I tell people, like, I see people who put themselves in front of their brands all the time. And I'm like, dude, is it the logo or is it you? Right? Yeah. Because if it's you, understand that there's a limit to that, right? If it's the brand and it's the logo, you know, that is abstract. It can be other things. It can grow from that. You know what I'm saying? I look at like Rock Nation, for instance, right? People first saw it as a record label. Yeah. Now look at Rock Nation. It's a sports agency. And it's this and it's that, you know? And it's really focused on the logo. The logo represents the brand. And I think you did a good job of that where you understood, okay, let me just put the brand out there. It's not about me. It's not about putting my face in front of everything, dancing in the videos like Diddy, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It's time to, you know, kind of be behind the scenes.
I think that's dope too, because the money part, you know, you weren't worried about the sales, which made you a little more patient. You know, when people do a lot of stuff for money, they kind of rush into stuff. They skip steps. You know what I mean? They just try to. You're not, it's easy to give up.
If you're doing it for money, you're not in control. Let's just understand that you're being dictated by numbers now at this point, right? So you're not in full control over your direction. That's why we always say, I mean, I always say impact over income, right? Because again, that money comes and goes, right? But that impact is going to remain, right? And I said it, whether it's good or bad, right? You might have a terrible impact on someone. You might have a great impact. It's not going to go anywhere. They're not going to forget it. You feel me? And you'll know your direction, right? But when it's focused on money, when the money's gone, you're like, oh shit, which way do I go? When the money's high, you're like, okay, so it's just about knowing your direction.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
Speaking of impact, like, what do you think needs to change, or kind of something you could kind of help impact in like the lash industry or beauty industry? You know what I'm saying? Like in general, just in society.
That's true. That's a good question.
Right now, one thing I've noticed just looking at was social media and all that, they got a certain image. They're portraying what beauty looks like, and it's a look that they got going on. And I remember, not to get into shades or none of that, but there is like a look where you got beauty is like, you gotta look this one light-skinned pretty girl or something. And I remember a young little girl said to me, man, she didn't think she was beautiful. She was really dark-skinned. I'm like, what? Like, for real? This is like a 16, 17-year-old. I cannot imagine ever thinking like that, you know? And so one thing they're getting better at, but it needs a little more work on, is just promoting different shades of beauty, different shapes of eyes, different looks. Like, there should not be one look that's beautiful, you know? And it's right now, can you imagine what's on social media, how they got these young girls thinking what's beautiful and what's crazy. So it's kind of like, that's one thing they're lacking, and that's one thing I've been trying to focus on too. So
there's a social responsibility that comes with it. I think that's the thing people don't understand. Sometimes they look at it as just like a business like any other. It's a product like any other. And I think that's why, you know, it's important for you to share that, because some people need that. Again, people need that context, man. They need to know your why. Right? If people looked at us and say, oh, they're just a podcast, it's like, no, we're not just a podcast. You feel me? Like, we're actually here trying to cultivate culture and paint accurate narratives of people who are within our community who don't get that who don't get that light shed on them. You feel me? So I'm glad you talked about that. That's a good question.
Yeah, she definitely in the first promo video, I seen a lot of that. You know, so that was dope how you did that.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't watched it yet, go watch that on Instagram.
And you had that song Eve. Who's that girl playing? So I want to ask, where did the name come from?
My bad.
Wait,
bro.
what?
I just got to say this, but I know I'm hella slow. But I just put that together. I was like, Eve's Lashes. She had Eve's song. I put that together today, bro.
All right, we're gonna talk off air about
confession. But all right,
we're gonna talk off air about your lack of listening to music and what we need to do to get you back on that.
Song,
I know. No, the thing is, you know, that song's filthy, and I was just like, damn. And then I was like, oh shit, Eve's Lashes. Damn, I feel hella slow. Yeah, but
so what's the story behind the name Eve's Lashes?
To be honest, it's simple. It's not really that deep. But so my name is Hawa in Arabic. English translation is Eve. You know, simple. And that just brings back to my earlier point. I didn't want my face to the brand like that. You know, I didn't really care about all that. So it's like, how do I incorporate me, but not necessarily like, you know? So Eve Lash is just the English translation to my name.
Okay,
so
cool. I was like, I know she didn't name it after the rapper Eve, right?
Nah.
Shout out Eve though, man.
Yeah, shout out to Eve. That music video, we did a little promo. It was fun. It just came to my mind. I was like, let's just use Eve's that girl. Something like that. So,
it was dope. It was dope. I liked it. I mean, Yeah, it was dope. It was dope.
Yeah, I still can't believe I just put that.
Yeah,
I can't believe I just said that, but it's cool.
It's
You know?
That's cool, man. It's cool, man. There's always a chance to do better. There's always a chance to do better. Yeah, and so for things that are coming on the horizon for you, I also want to give you a chance to kind of speak to whatever's on the horizon. If you got some announcements or things people should be looking forward to, please share.
Yeah. Right now, we're working on actually doing a fundraiser. We're basically going to reach out to these women's shelters, and we're putting together these, hygiene feminine products just to, reach out to the women out here that really can't, as a woman, you want to feel pretty regardless of your circumstances. So me and my team, we were just like, let's come up with something and let's just go out and put together little baggies. And so we're working on that right now. You know, so we're reaching out to a lot of these shelters out here. And, that's first step. And I know last year I did like a graduation giveaway, and this year I want to do more like a prom giveaway. Like, just to the young girls, like highest GPA or something where we'll take care of your prom. We'll do the whole makeup.
I love that.
That's
thing
dope.
going. So I definitely, and that's another thing that's huge for me, is just reaching out to the youth and making it easier for them. So it's hard to keep up these days. You know?
That's real.
So that's definitely my whole thing right now. It's coming. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
I heard you say team. So how important is it to have a strong team?
Yeah.
I got a team. It's just not me, I got a social media manager, she takes care of the social media part of it. She's, a little younger, so she's really tapped in what's hot and what's not, so shout out to Layla,
Man, hold on, we can't be aging ourselves like this.
But
we ain't that old.
We are getting old. We are.
I know, but come on, bro. I'm hip.
Certain things
I'm
we
hip.
don't
We don't need a social media manager. We good.
There's certain things you just don't know. Certain music you don't know,
You're right.
Yeah.
To each his own.
Yeah. So I definitely have her by my side, really putting me hip, keeping me hip to what's hot and what's not, and my good friend, who opened my mind to all this, that's my business partner, and that's someone who's really like, I'm hitting him up like, hey, I need help with this and that. It's like I said, it's just not just lashes, but there's more coming to it soon. So yeah, team is important.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
You feel me?
You feel me? Shout out to y'all, man.
Shout out to you guys.
Hey. They're smiling if you don't know. They're smiling in the background. All right. No, I'm glad you shared that though, because I think for listeners, consistent listeners and viewers, they know what it is. We consistently push that message out there. There's certain messages we consistently push on most episodes, and teamwork is one of them. All right. Well, I always leave our guests with this final question, but I know you're gonna cut me off, so go ahead, bro.
My fault. Social media handles, where can they find you? Eve's Lashes, all that.
Yeah. Instagram, Eve's Lashes _ and Facebook, Eve's Lashes _
Hey.
And the website www.eveslashes.com.
Tap in.
Yeah.
Tap in.
Yeah.
Get laced. She'll pull up to you.
Pull up anywhere.
Skirt.
No, really.
All right. Well, I'm going to leave you with this question. I always ask this question for our guests to end the show, because it's something that'll kind of wrap up our conversation, but also get a look ahead, right? So if you can, what is one word to describe what keeps you on the up and up?
One word.
You could explain it, though.
But you only got one word.
Yeah.
I know, I got two. How'd I just give one? Okay, I would say struggle. The struggle. You don't want to stay in the struggle forever, so that's definitely the number one key that's gonna keep me pushing and grinding.
I like that one.
Yeah.
That's the first time we got struggle.
I think that's the first time we got struggle.
Well, trust me, I know when it's the first time we got a word.
Struggle. That's gonna keep the grind going.
Nah, that's real.
Yeah.
Embrace the struggle, man.
Yeah.
For real.
There's beauty in the struggle.
Like, yeah.
J. Cole said that.
They said with hard shit comes ease.
No, you don't listen to music, right?
Eve's Lash.
Come on, Herb.
Oh, man.
You gotta put them on.
Cool.
You gotta keep it young and next to you. I'm telling you. They'll keep you hip.
That song came out like 4 years ago, bro.
Who want to manage my social media, bro?
Somebody tap in with Herb.
Hey, for anybody listening and viewing, Herb needs a social media manager, man. Tap in.
18
Hit us
to
up.
21.
Hit us up.
Yeah.
At this rate, we'll take anything. As long as you know how to log in, we good. I'll just play it.
All right.
All right, man. But Hawa, we appreciate you coming to the show. We appreciate you sharing your story about everything you've been through. And I mean, we're just getting started, right?
Yeah, it's the beginning.
We're just getting started,
Thank
right?
you guys for having me. I told you guys, I appreciate this platform. You guys opening the doors for all of us that are really coming up.
Yeah.
UpNUp.
Hey, man.
So,
That's real.
you know, we feel honored too because this is kind of like the first official kind of like.
Yeah. I've never really.
This is your first interview, right?
Yeah, my first. I never really put my face to this brand, really, unless you're, close friends and know. But yeah, I've really been behind the scenes.
Wow.
Yeah.
You heard it here first, man.
You heard it here first.
Exclusive. The founder and owner of Eve's Lashes
Thank you guys for having me.
is here. So yeah, do you got anything else?
Nah.
You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Good money?
Man. I'm good.
Gucci?
Yeah.
You want to listen to some music after this?
Hell yeah.
All right, man. Well, I think it's already understood, man. But if you don't know, now you know. Hawa Arero is officially a member of the UpNUp. Let's
Yeah.